It's in the hands of Hamas right now. The Israelis have been cooperating. There's an offer out there that's rational. We don't know what. We'll know in a couple days if it's going to happen. But we need the ceasefire.
How close are they to the hostage deal?
I was just saying that. The hostage deal is in the hands of Hamas right now.
Okay.
Because there's been an offer, a rational offer. The Israelis have agreed to it, and waiting to see what the Hamas does.
Do you think there will be a deal by Ramadan?
Well, there's got to be a ceasefire, because Ramadan, if we get into a circumstance where this continues through Ramadan, Israel and Jerusalem, again, it could be very, very dangerous. So we're trying hard for that ceasefire.
Mr. President, what's your message to Democrats who are concerned about your poll numbers?
My poll numbers, the last 5 polls you guys don't report, I'm winning. 5 in a row. You guys only look at the New York Times. They're a great paper.
Can you get the Israelis to allow more aid into Gaza?
Pardon me?
The Israelis, are you pressuring them to get more aid into Gaza?
I'm working with them very hard. We're going to get more. We must get more aid into Gaza. There's no excuses. None.
And how's your relationship with Netanyahu these days?
Like it's always been.
Sir?
Like it's always been.
Mr. President, what are you preparing for your State of the Union address?
You'll hear me on Thursday. All right? Thank you all so very much.
Joe Biden there, speaking in Maryland on the way back to the White House. Let's go live to Jerusalem and our international affairs editor, Dominic Waghorn. Good evening, Dominic. And, well, he said there, Joe Biden, it's in the hands of Hamas right now, but we need a ceasefire. I mean, do you think we will get one soon?
Yeah, he had something for both sides there, didn't he? He was saying that the negotiations, the chances of a ceasefire in the hands of Hamas, but also saying that no more excuses, more aid has got to go in, and that's clearly a message for Israel. In terms of what he's saying about Hamas and the ceasefire, it comes at the end of a pretty unedifying day of failed negotiations so far, at least in Cairo, where Hamas has agreed to go and has, they say, given their response to the ceasefire proposal. That proposal is thought to involve plans for a 40-day ceasefire that would allow 40 hostages to be released by Hamas. That we think would be nearly all, or practically, or possibly all, the women and children that Hamas is still holding, leaving 60 men still in the hands of Hamas. And in return for that, 400 Palestinian prisoners would be released by Israel. So that the outlines of a deal are there, but Hamas has been in Cairo giving its response to that. Israel did not send a delegation because it says Hamas has not come up with a list of those hostages. Hamas says it's difficult to come up with that list in wartime conditions, but also this is being seen as a stalling tactic by the Israelis. We had at the beginning of the day, or halfway through the morning, reports from Cairo that Hamas were going to effectively walk away from the talks. The talks have broken up. That was denied. We also have reports now that Israel may go to Cairo tomorrow. That's not been confirmed. I think the bottom line is that there has been no progress towards a ceasefire deal so far. Those talks in Cairo are thought to be more technical. There are other talks going on at a higher level. We're not really privy to how much progress there has been in those talks yet, Mark. They're being brokered by the Egyptians, the Qataris, the Americans. A lot of effort to try and make this happen, and a lot of pressure on the Israeli Prime Minister. The fact that nearly all the top level of American government seems to have met Benny Gantz, who's a member of the war cabinet in Israel, remember, but also an arch political rival of Netanyahu, who went to Washington, D.C. without the Prime Minister's approval and has been met by everybody short of the President. That's sending a pretty clear message to Netanyahu that Americans are running out of patience with him as they put more and more pressure on efforts to get the ceasefire to happen. But so far, the Israeli Prime Minister has effectively run this war on his terms and hasn't always listened to the Americans. So whether that pressure is going to produce any results by the end of the week isn't clear. Hamas also working by their own schedule, their own agenda as well. So it's a very frustrating time where tension is really building up in Gaza, particularly over the humanitarian situation. Reports of severe malnutrition there, particularly affecting children. So a lot of hope, a lot of expectation, but at the moment no real progress towards that breakthrough towards a ceasefire deal that could last 40 days if it's reached at some point in the coming days.